I see people going directly to sellers, directly from you being a buyer to say, no, it'll be cheaper if I go to a seller. I mean, why do I need an agent? I won't have to pay any fees, or it'll be cheaper. But the seller will not be completely honest with you, will not be transparent with you, with the costs, with the rates, with any levies. They will not do that. So ensure that they want the sale. They want the sale. So they will ensure that whatever they sell to you is what you want.
To their advantage.
To their advantage.
So agents are actually important.
Agents are important, but I see people are very reluctant to using agents because they feel they're time wasters, but actually an agent is there to make the transaction
and he's actually
easier.
He's outside of the space.
Yes.
He's more objective.
Yes.
He could tell you, okay, of this property I have 4 others.
Exactly.
They give you an option. Whereas when you go straight to the seller, you are already committing yourself directly, and you may find that 2 blocks down the road, for better price, less price, you could have actually invested better.
Exactly. You could have actually invested better. The big reason as well why I always advise people to do their research is because a 2-bedroom house can cost you 400,000 Rand, for example, but you see it somewhere else for 600,000 Rand. You saw the 600 first. You saw it really looking great. You saw the location. This is a great place. Let me just gun for this. Let me run for this. You go for the 600 one, whereas there's the 400 one. So do your research. Relax. That's why agents are there. And just also moving over to what agents are there to do. In the mornings, agents are there to scout good properties for you. Land. Drive around, look for land, go back to the system. How many years has this been on the market? Why has it been here for such a long time? What's wrong with it?
Yeah, because I've seen some houses for sale for the past 5 years.
Eat healthy food.
In 3, 4, 5 years, the sale thing is still on. And you wonder, is there a ghost in this house? Or why is this house not selling? I'm honest. There are some corners of the streets you have seen that poster there for sale. The thing is even has rust on it, and no one is buying that house. What will have happened in some of those properties?
It's priced wrong.
Price is wrong?
Yeah, the price is wrong. The
location could be wrong also?
The seller has unrealistic expectations, which goes back to you saying the example I gave for someone investing in Bryanston, saying, I want a property in this place.
And the seller is saying, this is Bryanston.
Yeah, and the seller is saying, this is Bryanston. So, okay, it's fine. I'll pop out 1.5 million for this. But who now in 2021 can go buy a 2-bedroom in Bryanston? When they
for 1.5 million.
For 1.5.
When you can actually buy a 3-bedroom apartment in Waterfall for 600,000.
Or to actually take that 1.5 million, find a small piece of land, do something.
Develop for yourself.
Develop it for yourself.
What does your day look like?
My day...
From morning to evening?
I don't think I'd say I have a day. Because from evening, you're on your PC, you're doing your research, you read more because you don't want to misinform people. You read a lot. In the mornings, you go for your listings. You drive. You can have 20 listings in one day, and you have to navigate around the areas. Where do I start? Do I start on Alberton? Do I start on R Road? And do a turn? Go there, evaluate the property so that you can actually price it right to get it off the system.
So you go, when they list, you run around also and you say, I want to sell this one, I want to sell this one. Then you create your own portfolio profile sort of thing.
So what
then you throw that to your market.
Yes.
And say, I got these properties, guys, and who is interested out there?
The for sale boards that have been there for 5 years, like you're saying, then you contact the owner. I see a board has been there for 5 years. What's wrong? Let me assist you. I have a buyer. So if you want to be effective as an agent...
What are your costs as an agent? What percentage, roughly?
I would not pinpoint a certain percentage because each and every day, your day fluctuates. And just now you get a call, I need to sell my property. You're an agent. You need to run there. Do an evaluation, price it properly, put it on the system, put it on the market.
No.
So I wouldn't say
on a rough base, whether it is a 600,000 house or it is a 6 million house.
Yeah.
What are your
my commission?
Your commissions on some of those transactions.
You negotiate with the seller. So if the seller wants,
but it will range between
7.5%. It cannot go over 10%.
It cannot go over 10%.
No. 7.5%, 10%.
Okay.
over 10%. That's a
Okay,
rip-off.
we're looking at your day. I just want to find out what happens in your day. So you wake up in the morning, you do your Googling, you run around, you do your itinerary, and?
But I need to plan before the following day, before I can actually go around doing the runnings. I plan. So this day I dedicated to Alberton. I dedicated to North Riding. I do my runnings there. I do my runnings there. I listed. I evaluated.
You must come and invalidate my house also, yeah?
Where's your house situated? how commission? How much?
I'm not selling it. I just want to have a look at it and then advise me.
Oh, but give me a rough estimation.
Say 4.2.
Ah. How about 7%?
We'll talk after the break, yeah. No, but that's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. And I'm also not clear. I'm also not clear about this agricultural land, industrial land, and commercial land. This and how that affects the pricing. You will walk around some spaces. I heard you saying instead of taking that money and buying a property, you could instead of a fully furnished place, you can actually get a piece of land and then you develop on it.
Yes.
But within that space, of course, there is agricultural land, there is industrial land, and then there is residential land.
Yes.
How do those three pieces of estate fit themselves in? Because sometimes when we talk about investment, some people might actually think that investing in property is investing in houses.
Yeah.
Whereas right now, if you should be running on R21, investing in industrial land is far much more profitable, because Tetelot has just bought a property there. The car rental guys have just bought properties there, and the airport is there, and all that land from Pretoria coming down into Oara Tambo.
Yes.
That corridor has actually become very viable.
Yes.
So industrial investment could work. Now here you are again looking at agricultural land. Also supplying of goods and etc.
Yes.
So in your own space, like in the Johannesburg space, which properties are actually hotter? Is it residential? Is it industrial? Or is it agricultural property?
Residential properties right now are a trend. Residential zoning in land, because people...
Look at Serengeti. They converted agriculture into residential.
So people are actually zoning to residential, and they build flats there and they invest everything there. But what people are neglecting is actually sitting down and conversing and calculating to say, what everyone does might not necessarily work for me. What might work for you is a small commercial building and work on that. What might work for me is agricultural. So what everyone is doing in residential, in as much as it's an in thing where people are building, it's not that it will work for everyone. So go back to the drawing board. How much do I have? What do I want to do with the land?
Do you have a chance of also interacting with the architects and property developers, and do you have a heads-on or heads-ahead before a piece of estate is developed? And you position yourself ahead. Okay, good. I will off-take that before I come. And if so, what are the environmental issues in terms of design? Because I'm actually tired of the property market. For one reason, it's Tuscan. It is all this Eurocentric kind of properties. I've hardly seen the modern designers and architects and property developers beginning to develop in Dumba, for example, or Zulu huts. I'm not saying make it a thatch house. But take that technology and develop it into an Afrocentric property market, which is culturally responsive to the environment in which we are. We are Africans. Now you find that all our properties are almost these Eurocentric emblems and etc. Is there something in the conversation, in the corridors of the architecture, as to how do we harvest ancient indigenous knowledge into modern architectural designs to create modern villages, quote unquote, which are actually an amalgamation between our past and our future?
I think you just gave a very expensive idea to someone. I don't know if you'll get paid for it.
I'm manure.
That's
My name is Marara.
That's a very expensive idea. That's a very expensive idea because it goes back to what I said. Everyone is doing the same thing. When architects come on the land to evaluate, they'll tell you the same thing. Okay, we can build, unless if some people have come across different architects, but this is also a call to architects to actually sit down. What can we do? What can we do differently? Yes.
Different. And
yes.
we're not in New York here.
No.
We're not in Lisbon.
No.
We're not in Essex.
We're not in Rasa.
We are in Africa.
Thank you.
And if we can be faithful to look around and say, how can we take our rural, ancient, ancestral, traditional, architectural aesthetics and transform it into an urbanized,
Sure.
industrial, civilized design. Bet you take the Zulu hat and sit around as an architect, and you have your set square and say, the design must look like, even if it is a flat, 3, 4, 5 apartments, but the design is actually a Zulu hut. Then you can put your lifts inside and etc. And people are living in that thing, and it's like an anthill sort of thing. And you create these things.
And
all we see are these boxes, of colonial thing, and people as Africans, and I feel insulted to say the least, that I'm not saying put thatched houses and Zulu huts in Sandton, but I'm saying there is value. I lived in London, by the way. When you go down in downtown London from the stock exchange there across the Thames, they actually picked up the Zimbabwean dome, and they created a whole building using the Zimbabwean model, and it's now a modern building, cylindrical, exactly looking like a column. And you look at this and say, wow, in the midst of town. But and I feel that the African designers, and this also speaks to our academic institutions, that they've not yet started being faithful to the ground on which they are living in, to say, how do we harvest the technology of the Pedis, the technology of the Shonas, the technology of the Zulus and the Tswanas, and come up with an architectural, aesthetic relevance within an African context. All our students who are going to be studying architecture, they're being taught how to draw squares. No squares. These square houses, square veranda, square flats, and etc. And you look around and say, man, are you trying to reduplicate Brixton
different
in South London? So is there some conversation? I just want to find out from you. Is there some in your whole property lifestyle and your whole property space, have you found people who are creating indigenous African villages?
I've never come across, in all honesty.
If you are listening from home, wherever you are, there's a challenge for you. You're in architectural space, you're in quantity surveying space, you're in engineering space. I want to challenge you. Stop duplicating Europe in Africa. It's enough. We don't want no more European skyscrapers. Go to school and study and design for us indigenous designs that speak to African architectural space. And let us also feel like we're in Africa. Of course, with a little bit of European technology. When you come back after the break, let us take a conclusion and see where can we find Katleho, what she's doing with herself, and how best can we actually develop the property business. Because property by itself speaks to our mining, speaks to our agriculture, speaks to our forestation, our road construction, and everything else. Get a piece of land. Stop investing in cars and expensive techies. Invest in land. Putting glasses on top of your heads. Hey, I'm in Sandton, Gucci. Hey, I'm driving a Golf, a pendy dropper. Pendy my foot. Get some land. Buy property and invest in immovable properties. And then you can leave an inheritance for your children. Wait for with us. We'll be back with you right after the break.
Make massive moves.
Isn't that your daughter's bib?
But the truth is, I feel like Arabella's always with me.
Don't you ever forget this man's face. He killed your brother.
Make massive moves with Starside. Make massive moves.
So from the theater stage to the kitchen.
I'm anxiously awaiting to see Sanaya.
What else is this if not love?
Make massive moves with Starside.
I want you to eat healthy food because it's delicious.
Make massive moves.
Would you like another one?
I love it. I love this too.
This is amazing. The grits are so creamy. Oh,
I take pride in my grits. No,
so flavorful.
I think that looks wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so incredible.
Make massive moves with Starsat.
Every African who is on the continent deserves a piece of an estate. We cannot afford to become beggars and squatter camp livers and dwellers on our own land. There must be a way. Government conversations and religious organizations, cultural structures need to start talking and take it more seriously, that we actually make sure that every generation does not own land. Every generation is a custodian of land. The only thing we do is to hand over the land to the next generation. And the next generation cannot sell the land. They keep it for the next generation and the next generation. If you understand that concept, therefore, land is not for sale. It's for industry, it's for work, it's for development, and creating income and profit. Between Johannesburg and Rustenburg, 18 trillion worth of platinum. All those houses and farms in Brits are sitting on top of billions of rands. One man walks up and says, okay, can I buy this piece of land for 200, 300,000? And our people, because they don't know, that land is not for sale. You get yourself a 2.3 million rand transaction. And someone walks away with 20.3 billion transaction. Because people simply don't understand the value of land. I want you to start talking to your African people out there. I'm pushing you way out of your zone. But I want you to start talking to fairly, and by the way, you're on my show. So I'll give you an opportunity at least to experience me also. So that when you walk away from this, you can say, oh, I didn't think about that. I want you to talk to the young people out there who are all thinking that jobs are found in the urban spaces. And you as a property specialist, you have Rustenburg, you have Polokwane, you have all these low communities or small communities that are upcoming. Is it not possible that you can actually go back to your village or go back to your small little towns, identify low-cost, cheaper pieces of land next to a growth point, put yourself some back rooms to rent, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 back rooms to rent at 1,000 rand each, 15 of them later? Are you not making a 15K? Then maybe 600 for water, another 1,000 rand for electricity. Can you not sit at home in the morning with an 11,000 salary monthly that is established? So it's job creation. I want us to move into property and job creation. That if you can actually convert 150K or 60,000 into 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 back rooms at your grandfather's house next to a mine, for example. Or next to a small little upcoming complex. Or what opportunities? I'm sorry, I'm selling ideas, and I hope the South African governments can start paying me for this. You don't need always to run into town to look for employment. What opportunities can the young people harness in the property business? I gave you a lead.
You gave me sure. I'll say this first, that your biggest or your next elevation in your life right now is your idea, is you coming out of your comfort zone. Like you mentioned, to say, this is the money that I have, what can I do with it? Go back to the drawing board. What am I good with? What am I good at? How can this contribute to me investing in property and ensuring that it is well maintained? Stop going out there to invest in these big, or rather, you know, upcoming stocks. You have your townships. Go back to the townships. There's hospitals around townships. There's small houses in townships, schools,
police stations.
Exactly. Go there. Where are the opportunities? identify land within the house. It even starts with where you're sitting right now. You might have land big enough to build 3 or 4 rooms. Start there. Calculate how much would this cost. Do your research. Call someone to help you. You know what? This is where I live, but I think I can actually do with 2, 3 rooms right now.
At the back.
At the back.
And then the main house, you stay for free. Because these guys at the back are paying your rent.
And you wouldn't have to stay long in your main house for free because you will make so much capital where you're like, you know what?
I can leave this house.
I can leave this house. They can come rent this house. What else can I do?
Because I'm saying that, what drives me to say that? Because some of our young people out there think that life and class is determined by the size of the house that you are living in.
Sure.
And then you find that you buy this big 7-bedroomed house. You have 1 kid or 2 kids in a 7-bedroomed house. You hardly use 1/3 of that house. Wasted investment. Yes, in terms of class, people can be going, yay, we got a house in Sundown Valley, yay. But you're losing money every month. That house is costing more than 50,000, 60,000 a month to run that house. How about you convert this house into bed and breakfast, into a business zone, rent out this house to someone else, take your money, move into a 3.5-bedroomed, each child has got their bedroom, you got your bedroom, etc. And then you harvest the 60,000 from there, rent is paid, your loan at the bank is 35,000, the other 20,000 is coming straight to you. Of the 20,000, you take 10,000 and pay for a flat. You still have profit on the other side to go shopping. So this whole illusion, and I wonder, I'm saying this in the midst of this corona space, that don't be too proud to downscale and live within your means. Allow those with the extra cash to spend to come and dwell and stay in your houses, and with your money, invest it in other ventures.
Or for example, you're actually done with your bond repayment and you're thinking, I want to extend this house and this will probably cost me 500,000 rand. But why not take the same 500,000 rand and identify a house in your location, or where you can see that you can fairly develop this place. You can fairly generate income from this place. How about you taking the very same 500,000 rand to build a bigger house, which you don't need for status, but actually using that same money to invest in another property. And now you have 2 properties. You start from there and you build it from there.
1 property. And tell me about this issue of getting a loan on a house or refinancing a house. How does that work?
Well, once you're done with the bond repayment, you go back to the bank, you tell them your plan, that this is what you need, and we obviously see if you do qualify for another loan or if you don't qualify for another loan, but it's the same process of you buying a new property. Then you start from scratch.
Because what I'm looking at is that when you have a house, I've in some certain cases, if it is about 60 or 70% paid for, you can actually go back to the bank and raise a loan on the surety of the other house. Then you take that money, you invest it into another. But the whole idea is the property that you already have can give birth. So when you finish paying for a loan, don't sit on your laurels. And so, finally, this house is paid for. You're actually sitting on a capital, because the value of that house can be withdrawn from the bank and reinvested. In other words, a fully paid house can give birth to another house.
Investment.
And then that fully paid house
can
gives birth to another house. So 3, 4, 5 properties later, you look back 10, 20 years later in playing in that passive income space where you started off with a 3-bedroomed house, now you actually end up with a mansion. And all of them is refinance, a fully paid bond, refinances another bond, and then the rent from that pays for the parts of this bond, this one pays for the other one. And that's how people, some of these big guys who are in property business, you guys, when you make money, you need to start sending some money to me also. I'm selling some good ideas tonight here. In that also, Sisi.
I agree. So, and I'm taking some of your ideas.
You take some of the ideas, but I should be taking ideas from you. You are the one in property.
Well, I took I took more ideas from you.
Reinvest your properties. Reinvest your properties. Don't just sit on them for the sake of class and names.
Yes.
Take that money, get another house, downscale, 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 then upscale, 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 downscale, downscale, upscale, and etc. 10, 15 years later, you may find that you started off in a 3-4 bedroom apartment and you can actually afford a farm that you need, an estate that you need, an enclosement that you need anywhere else, and you can live the life that you want to live. I want you to talk to young people out there on the whole continent of Africa about property in our concluding statements. What do you want to tell the young people out there who are standing on the side of the streets looking for employment?
It goes back to my opening statement when I said I stopped feeling sorry for myself and I thought, what can I do? Hence I started at Property Talks with Kay. So wherever you are, whatever skill you have, start at home. What can you do? Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get out of your comfort zone. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's hard. But if someone else could do it, you can also do it. So go out there with what you have. Run with it. Make sure you read on it. Do your research. Do your findings. And I can assure you, if you stay committed to what you want to do, in spite of all odds, you will conquer and you will win. Invest in
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I am Katleho.
Go slowly, go slowly.
Monareng. But they're property people. They can catch what I'm saying. Yes. So catch me on Instagram. I'll say it slowly. Catch me on Instagram. It's Katleho.
I like the accent.
Yes. It changes. It's Instagram. It has to change. It's Instagram. So catch me on Instagram. It's Katleho_Monareng. I'm also on Facebook. It's at Property Talks with K.
Property Talks.
Yes, Property Talks with K, the ins and outs of property. Also catch me on my website. Go on my website. It's katleho_monareng.kwsa.co.za. I'll say that again. It's Katleho with an H, Monareng.kwsa.co.za, or go to my Facebook page, Katleho Monareng, and drop me an inbox.
What is the biggest property you've sold so far? You don't have to mention names.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't mention it.
But just want to know at least the quality of work that you have handled so far. The biggest piece of property that you have sold so far.
It was commercial. It was commercial in Santon Woodmead for 15
million.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. I won't go deep into that.
No, you don't have that. That's fine. 15 million. And I'm trying to calculate if you should.
You're trying to calculate if you can actually sell all of your properties.
5% or 7% of that. How much money did you make? And. No, that's fine.
I think the next step would be, okay, Katleho, it's time for you to sell my property.
Katleho, I think I need to send you my my offerings as a bishop,
Yes.
And what is the worst deal that you did, and how much did you lose in the deal?
Oh, I was so sad and I cried.
No, that's why I had to start with a happy one because I knew I had a bullet under my gun. Yeah.
Well, it was 3 and 4 agents. It was a co-listing where you work with other agents. But because you need to get it sold quickly, you just have to. So I had a listing for more than 25 million. It was land. And just when they were about to sign the offer to purchase, COVID hit and we lost it.
The deal went under.
Yeah.
25 M.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I need to sell your properties to make up.
Go next door, please. Go next.
That's why I need to sell your property.
Excellent. Any other last word you want to say to the people out there?
Yes, keep safe. Thank you so much for tuning in.
What's your advice for Corona and COVID?
My advice for Corona and COVID is don't wait until it's gone. Start where you are. See what you can do, taking the safety precautions that you can do, and just work.
Katleho Monareng, a property agent here in Johannesburg, South Africa. Her details are at the bottom of the screen. Please call her if you are planning to move your business into South Africa. She will be your point of contact. My name is Maponga J.H. Garamboko. Thank you very much for coming. By the way, I appreciate you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
We will call you again, but not to my house, but we'll call you again. My name is Futhi Jena Garamboko Garamashamba Huda Chirana Wanawanji. Tisubu, Hido Wanawanyakuno, Wanawanyakunu, Wanawasose, Tismachi Mango. mangoro na vapfuri vayo vanachigara makwe matandano vorachibwe ichitedza chinotedzera ri kure vari pedo vanotamba nacho mutambo uri paro wari chiramba kusisira mupanango kuba ane mazha kumagaro masvosve tinorya mani tichibovera ya vanopemberana machira machena vachiri vemangoro navapfuri vayo wiramiti yasvosve until we see again. Don't do what I wouldn't do. If you decide to do it better.